On November 19, 2025, a tank rolled off a production line in Munich. That sentence should not be remarkable. Tanks roll off production lines. Factories build things. Except this particular factory had not built a new tank for the German army in 33 years. The last time Germany manufactured a main battle tank from scratch for its own forces was 1992, the year the Soviet Union had just finished collapsing, the year the Cold War formally ended, the year the Western world collectively decided that large-scale armored warfare in Europe was a relic of a bygone era. For 3 decades, Germany got by on upgrades. Older Leopard 2 hulls were refitted, refurbished, rearmored, and redesignated. The A5, the A6, the A7, each version a renovation of a house built in the 1980s. Good bones, new paint, but still the same house. The Leopard 2 A8 is not a renovation. It is the first new house. And the reason it matters goes far beyond the tank itself, because this is not just a story about a machine. It is a story about a country that spent 3 decades believing it would never need to fight a war in Europe again. And what happens when that belief dies on a battlefield 1,000 kilometers east of Munich. Start with what Germany actually built, because the engineering is worth understanding before we get to the strategy. The Leopard 2 A8 retains the basic Leopard 2 architecture, the same chassis lineage, the same 4-man crew, the same 120mm smoothbore gun concept that has defined Western main battle tank design for half a century. But nearly everything around that skeleton has been rebuilt for a battlefield that looks nothing like the one the original Leopard 2 was designed to fight on. The gun is the Rheinmetall L55A1, the high-pressure variant of the already formidable L55 smoothbore. It fires the latest generation of programmable ammunition, including rounds that can be set to detonate at specific distances or in specific modes, depending on whether the target is armor, infantry, or a fortified position. The fire control system is fully digital. New commander and gunner sights with advanced thermal imaging, laser range finding, and a fused 360-degree situational awareness display that gives the crew a composite picture of the battlefield around them. The digital architecture is not just an upgrade to the old analog systems. It is a complete replacement. Every subsystem, power distribution, communications, fire control, crew interfaces, has been redesigned from the ground up. KNDS describes it as the most comprehensive analog to digital conversion in the Leopard family's history. The power plant is the proven MTU MB 873 KA501, a 12-cylinder twin-turbo diesel producing 1,500 horsepower, paired with the Renk HSWL 354 transmission. Top speed sits around 68 to 72 kilometers per hour. Operational range is roughly 400 to 500 kilometers. Hydropneumatic suspension and wide tracks are specifically optimized for the soft terrain, mud and snow of Eastern Europe, because that is where this tank is going. The combat weight has climbed to just under 69.5 tons, depending on configuration. That is heavy, heavier than any previous Leopard 2 variant, and the reason it is heavy is the reason this tank exists. Survivability. Everything about the Leopard 2A8's design philosophy starts and ends with what Ukraine has taught the world about killing tanks. For 4 years, the war in Ukraine has been a live demonstration of every threat a modern main battle tank faces. FPV drones diving onto turret roofs, top-attack anti-tank guided missiles striking from above where armor is thinnest, loitering munitions circling for minutes before choosing the moment to strike, mines buried in roads and fields, cluster bomblets scattered across approach routes, Russian Lancet drones hunting armoured vehicles with autonomous terminal guidance. The Leopard 2A4s and 2A6s that NATO nations donated to Ukraine encountered these threats in real combat, and the lessons were brutal. Turret roof hits were devastating, mobility kills from mines left crews stranded. The absence of active protection meant that a $30 drone could theoretically destroy a $5 million tank. The Leopard 2A8 is the German defense industry's answer to every one of those lessons. The passive protection package includes strengthened modular armor on both hull and turret, with specific reinforcement of the roof, the surface area most vulnerable to the top attack munitions, and drone-delivered warheads that have defined the Ukrainian battlefield. Provisions for heavy mine protection kits addressed the persistent threat of anti-vehicle mines and improvised explosive devices. But the most significant addition, the feature that genuinely changes the survivability equation, is the Trophy Hard Kill Active Protection System. Trophy is an Israeli-developed system, combat-proven on the Merkava tank, and it fundamentally alters the relationship between a tank and the threats trying to kill it. 4 radar arrays mounted around the turret create a 360-degree hemispheric detection bubble. When an incoming anti-tank guided missile, rocket-propelled grenade, or certain drone-delivered munitions enter that bubble, the system tracks the threat, calculates an intercept solution, and fires a countermeasure that destroys the projectile before it reaches the tank. The interception rate in combat has historically exceeded 90%. This is not reactive armor that absorbs a hit. This is a system that prevents the hit from occurring. The implications for the drone threat are particularly significant. Ukraine has demonstrated that cheap FPV drones carrying shaped charge warheads can destroy or disable main battle tanks that lack active protection. The Trophy system on the Leopard 2A8 is designed to detect and intercept at least some categories of these threats, though it should be noted that the drone threat is evolving faster than any single defensive system can fully counter, and the effectiveness of Trophy against the full spectrum of improvised drone attacks remains an open question in real-world conditions. What Trophy does provide is a baseline level of protection that no previous Leopard variant has had, a system that can engage the most common anti-armor threats automatically, without requiring crew action, at speeds faster than human reaction time. Optional laser warning receivers add another layer. When the tank is targeted by a laser designator, the precursor to a guided missile launch, the crew receives an alert that allows them to reposition, deploy smoke, or take countermeasures before the missile arrives. An NBC overpressure system protects the crew compartment against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. And the tank includes a powerful auxiliary power unit for silent watch operations, allowing the crew to maintain full sensor and communication capability while the main engine is off, reducing thermal and acoustic signatures. Add it all together, and the Leopard 2A8 is not just an upgrade, it is a tank designed for the war that is actually being fought. A war of drones, loitering munitions, top attack missiles, electronic warfare, and networked battlefields. It is the first Western main battle tank to integrate all of these countermeasures into a single production platform from the factory floor. Now step back from the machine and look at what it means that Germany is building it. When the Leopard 2A8 rolled out of the KNDS plant in Munich, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said something that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. "Today is a good day for the security of Europe." He then announced that Germany intended to order 75 additional Leopard 2A8s on top of the existing order of 123, bringing the potential Bundeswehr total to 198. The first unit to receive them will be Panzer Brigade 45, Germany's permanently stationed brigade in Lithuania, on NATO's eastern flank. Not in Germany, in Lithuania, on the border with Russia and Belarus. That deployment decision tells you everything about how German strategic thinking has changed. For decades after reunification, the Bundeswehr was configured for crisis management and peacekeeping. Bosnia, Kosovo, Afghanistan. Heavy armor was an afterthought. Tank battalions were disbanded. The assumption was that large-scale territorial defense in Europe was over. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 destroyed that assumption so completely that Germany declared a Zeitenwende, a turning point, within 72 hours of the first Russian tanks crossing the Ukrainian border. What followed was the largest rearmament program in German history since the Second World War. A €100 billion special defense fund, a commitment to spend over 2% of GDP on defense, a threshold Germany had failed to meet for years. And at the center of that rearmament, a decision to restart the production of main battle tanks. Not refurbish old ones, build new ones, from scratch, on a production line that had been dormant for 3 decades. The strategic weight of the Leopard 2A8 extends far beyond Germany, because Germany is not the only country buying it. Norway ordered 54, replacing its aging Leopard 2A4 fleet and strengthening its Arctic defense posture in a country that shares a land border with Russia. The Netherlands ordered 46, a return to heavy armor for a country that disbanded its entire tank fleet in 2011 and is now rebuilding from zero, stationing its new tanks at NATO facilities in Germany. Lithuania ordered 44, forming a new battalion within its Iron Wolf Brigade, a direct response to the Russian military presence in Kaliningrad and Belarus. Sweden ordered 44, deepening its integration into NATO's defense posture after joining the alliance in 2024. The Czech Republic ordered 44, replacing Soviet-era equipment and aligning its forces with Western standards. Croatia signed for 44, part of a broader defense modernization that included sending older Soviet-era M84 tanks to Ukraine. The total acquisition cost for Germany alone is approximately 2.9 billion euros. Croatia's package is valued at nearly 2 billion euros. These are not token purchases. They are generational investments in heavy armor by countries that, until recently, were cutting their tank fleets or eliminating them entirely. Combined with Germany's order, that is over 470 Leopard 2A8s committed across 7 NATO nations, with more orders expected. This is not a German tank program. It is a European armored rearmament program, using the Leopard 2A8 as its common platform. The interoperability implications are enormous. 7 nations operating the same tank means shared logistics, shared spare parts, shared ammunition, shared training, and shared maintenance infrastructure. A Norwegian Leopard 2A8 deployed to NATO's northern flank uses the same gun, the same engine, the same fire control system, and the same active protection as a Lithuanian Leopard 2A8 on the eastern flank, and a Dutch Leopard 2A8 in the center. In wartime, that commonality simplifies every aspect of coalition operations, from ammunition resupply, to battlefield recovery, to crew cross-training. It is the kind of standardization that NATO has talked about for decades and rarely achieved. The production line itself is a strategic asset. Restarting tank manufacturing at KNDS Munich restores an industrial capability that Germany had allowed to atrophy for 30 years. The ability to design, build, and iterate advanced armoured platforms domestically, rather than relying on upgrades to Cold War-era hulls, gives Germany and its European partners a production base that can respond to future threats with new designs rather than endless modifications to old ones. In a security environment where the lessons of Ukraine suggest that armoured warfare is not obsolete, but is evolving faster than at any point since the Second World War, that production capability matters. There is an honest question that needs to be asked alongside the enthusiasm, and it is the question that Ukraine's battlefield has made impossible to avoid. Does the main battle tank still have a future? The skeptics have a case. In Ukraine, tanks of every type, Russian T-72s, T-80s, T-90Ms, Western Leopard 2s, Challengers, Abrams, have been destroyed by drones, mines, and anti-tank missiles. The battlefield has demonstrated that cheap, mass-produced unmanned systems can impose devastating attrition on expensive armored platforms. A $20 FPV drone carrying a shaped charge can disable a vehicle that costs millions. The economics look terrible, the vulnerability looks existential, but the battlefield has also demonstrated something else. Tanks still matter, not as the invincible spearheads of Cold War doctrine, but as protected mobile firepower that infantry cannot replicate. A tank with active protection, networked sensors, and competent crew support can suppress enemy positions, breach fortified lines, and provide the kind of direct fire that dismounted troops need to advance across open ground. Ukraine's own forces have used Western tanks effectively precisely because they combined armor with infantry, drones, artillery, and electronic warfare in integrated combined arms operations. The tanks that died in Ukraine mostly died alone, unsupported, unprotected by accompanying systems, exposed in the open. The tanks that survived and succeeded were part of a system. The Leopard 2A8 is built to be part of a system. Its digital architecture is designed to integrate with networked battlefield management systems, receiving and sharing data with drones, artillery, electronic warfare platforms, and headquarters in real time. Its active protection addresses the most immediate threats. Its sensor suite gives the crew awareness beyond what any previous generation of tankers possessed. It is not a standalone weapon. It is a node in a networked force, and in that role, it remains something that no other platform can fully replace. The production timeline is the vulnerability that critics rightly identify. Deliveries to Norway begin in 2026. Germany receives its first tanks in 2027. Full delivery of the current orders will not be complete until 2030. In a fast-moving security environment, with a war in Ukraine still grinding, a war in the Middle East destabilizing energy markets, and NATO's eastern flank under sustained pressure, 4 years is a long time to wait for a tank that is already designed and tested. The gap between the threat and the delivery schedule is where the risk lives. But the Leopard 2A8 is not solving today's problem. It is solving the problem of 2030 and beyond, equipping NATO's European members with a common, modern, survivable, and networked armored platform for the next 2 decades of deterrence and, if necessary, defense. Germany spent 30 years assuming it would never need to build tanks again. The world proved otherwise. The Leopard 2A8 is the industrial expression of that lesson, a machine built not for the war Germany wanted to avoid, but for the one it now accepts it must be prepared to fight. When that first tank rolled off the line in Munich, it weighed 69.5 tons. But what it carried was heavier than metal and ammunition. It carried the weight of a country finally acknowledging that peace in Europe is not a default condition. It is something you have to build for, plan for, and, if the worst comes, fight for, with the best machines and the most capable soldiers you can produce. Germany has not built a new tank in 33 years. Now it is building nearly 500 for 7 countries across a continent that is rearming faster than at any point since the Cold War. The Leopard 2A8 is not just a tank. It is the sound of Europe waking up. Whether it has woken up fast enough is the question that the next few years will answer.